Hello, hello, hello. I would play music, but they mute my sound when I play music. Maybe I'll sing for you all. For all of the early comers. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Oh. It's one of my favorite songs to sing. You know what I mean? That one and doe, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun. Y'all didn't know y'all were getting a concert today? Welcome to Keisha Natalie Cole Live, aka K Talking Sense, where we will sing to you this entire presentation on getting ready for retirement. This is the presentation, the live that you didn't know you needed in your life. Are you ready? Here we go. How do you know that you're ready for retirement? I should have said, welcome to How Do You Know That You're Ready for Retirement? Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm just joking around while we get some folks to come on out. Please, please, please share this live. Everybody needs to know what's going on. Everybody needs to know this information. It is so important. Share this on your Facebook page. Share this on wherever. Share this. Share my link on YouTube. Let's get everybody watching today. Meanwhile, I'm going to take a moment to share as well. Here we go. Let me go ahead and share. Because we are going live. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. Y'all don't remember that song. What y'all know about that song? Y'all don't know nothing about that. We are climbing Jacob's ladder, soldiers of the cross. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm in here messing around while I share this live on my page. I had a whole concert a few minutes ago. You didn't know you were going to get a concert. I'm going to sing this entire presentation, okay? So instead of speaking it, I am going to sing it. All right? We're going to talk about why you should be ready for retirement and what you need to know. All right, okay. Let me stop playing. There we go. Share. All right, listen, we're only going to be together for an hour, okay? 60 minutes. I'm just going to share some things with you that you should know when you're preparing for retirement. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Make me feel like I'm talking to somebody so I don't feel like I'm just talking to myself, even though I could talk all day. It's still good to hear from you all. If you're joining us, please take a moment to share this live. Text your family, text your friends. If you've got people that are looking to retire, want to learn about retirement, if you've got family members that are currently in retirement and maybe they want to know if there's anything extra that they could do, please be sure to share this live with them so that everybody can be educated. Listen, we all want to retire. I don't know about you. I'm not trying to work for the rest of my life, right? Now, I'm sure that when I do get to retirement, there are going to be some things that I'll do that are kind of like work, but not really, because it's things I enjoy, right? Traveling, I'll be singing, I'll be preaching, I'll be educating, right? Whatever I want to do on my time. And that's what I want for everybody, right? What do they say? Friends, don't let friends retire broke. And you are all my friends. And so I want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need so that you do not have to retire broke. Because here's the thing. You don't want to have to retire twice. Okay. I don't want you to retire from work and then have to retire from retiring because you have to go back to work. That is not going to work. Okay. So we're going to go through some things that you should know, some things that you'd be thinking about. If you are younger and you've got a lot of time ahead of you before retirement, listen, the more you save, the more you'll have, right? Because saving, the longer you save, the better. Okay. So you want to make sure that you get started right away. Now, the first thing that you need to consider is how much you'll need for retirement. Okay. How much will you need for retirement? What does that mean? That is what's called your financial independence number. How much money you're going to need in retirement. What does that mean? Retirement is not an age anymore, right? It's not how old you are. It's not like I can be 65 or I'm going to retire at 65. You're going to retire when you have enough money, right? Because you could retire at 65 but still have to work. Because honestly, with the way that the economy is going, I was listening to the news the other day and it mentioned something about them trying to get rid of Medicare and Social Security. A lot of people depend on Social Security, right? And Medicare. So it's like, why are we doing this? Why? I don't know. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're the ones that fund our own retirement. We got to make sure that we have our retirement plan under our belt. And the way to do that is one, to get started, two, to know how much you're going to need. So, for example, if I were to ask you, okay, let's pretend like I'm on I'm sitting with a client. I say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, how much money do you think you need every month to pay your expenses when you're in retirement? And make sure that that includes if you're trying to travel, if you want to shop, anything that you want to do in retirement, you want to make sure you include that in the number. Okay. So let's say, for example, client says, I don't know, $5,000 a month. I need $5,000 a month in order to retire comfortably. Okay. So if you're going to have $5,000 a month, then we're going to say, okay, great. So what we do is we think about the couple of things. How old do you want to be when you retire, right? Because then that determines how long you'll be in retirement. So if you say, I want to retire at 60, then potentially you'll be in retirement for 30 plus years, right? God willing. Okay. If you want to retire at 65, 70, right? It just depends on the age that you want to retire. So then you're going to take the 5,000 a month times 12 and you're going to multiply that by however many years you'll be in retirement. Okay? And that will give you your financial independence number. That will let you know how much money you need to have in your retirement account in order to retire successfully. Okay. Most times it's 1 mil, 1.5 mil, 2.6 mil, 4.8 mil, right? For me, it's like 500,000 mil because I'm trying to live that life, right? But you got to know, because here's the thing: how do you hit a target if you don't know where it's at? Okay. So people are just blindly saving, right? I always say every week when I do my webinars, I'm always like, people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan because why? They have no idea how. They don't know where to start, right? Or they get misinformation, they're misinformed, or key information is kept from them. And so they don't understand what they need. Okay. So that's the first question. How much will you need in retirement? Have you calculated how much money you're going to have to save in order to maintain your current lifestyle once you retire? Okay. And like I said, most people haven't done that. Okay. Matter of fact, statistically, only 46% of workers have tried to calculate how much money they'll need to live comfortably. Okay. 46%. So if you haven't, please understand you're not alone. Okay. 46% have not. And I need you to understand the time value of money, right? It can't be stressed enough. The sooner you start to save, the better, right? The less that you have to put away. Because as we get older, right, if we're trying to get to $1 million or more, as we get older, it takes a lot more for us to get there. Okay. So if you're 20 years old, 25 years old, right, you could put away $100 for 20 years and be at $1 million potentially. Right. But if you're 30 years and 40, 30 and 40 years old or 50 years old, now you're putting away 500, 600, 800, thousands of dollars in order to meet your goal. Because if you're 50 and you want to retire at 65, that means you only have 15 years. And so now you really got to put away a lot of money to make sure you hit your goal. Okay. Let me make sure my mic is right. Yep, there you go. I don't know what just happened. All of a sudden, I got booted. Okay, something happened. Okay. All right, it's corrected. I have no idea what just happened, but that was not cool. Yes, exactly. Blackout indeed. I'm back. Thank you very much. Can you hear me, Shantae? Okay. Is my mic right? Because, we don't want no more problems. Anytime you're sharing good information, man, something always tries to jack the process. But yeah, like I was mentioning, the time value of money, it's so important that you start earlier. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. It's so important that you start earlier, so that you can save, because the cost of waiting can be very bad. So for example, okay, let's say you're saving, um, you start saving at 25 years old. Okay. You're putting away $100, $200 a month. And you've saved for like 20, 30 years. You're gonna have close to that mill or more, right? But if you wait 10 years, that's like 300, $400,000 that you've missed in savings because you didn't start, right? And so you want to make sure that you start as soon as possible, because you want to capitalize on what's on excuse me, you want to capitalize on what's called compounding interest. Okay. Now, when you go to the credit card companies and they charge you like 29% interest rate, 18% interest rate, depending on how good or bad your credit is. Well, it's flipped, right? So instead of the credit card companies making that, you're making that based on whatever account you put your money in. All right. And so you want to make sure that you can capitalize on whatever the market is doing for as long as you can, so that that money grows. Okay. Now, remember, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and I'll make sure that I answer them for you. Like I was saying, making sure that you're investing and putting the money away. One of the most important keys that I want you to understand, right? One of the most important keys to wealth, is the power of that compounding interest. Annuities are amazing. And yes, well, I don't know. It looks like maybe one too many ends. I'm not sure. But yes, you spelled it right. And I will address annuities towards the end because they are very important. But the power of compounding interest, like a one-time investment of $10,000 with a 9% rate of return over the course of 40 years could possibly bring you to about $361,000, right? And that's just having it sit there. That's not even you systematically investing in it. That's just if you put it in the account and you let it sit. Now imagine if you put it in the account and you actually add money to it, right? Imagine how much it grows. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of the rule of 72. It's sometimes called the banker's rule, right? What that does is it basically tells you how many doubling periods you have in your life when it comes to your money and growth, right? So, for example, if you've got 3%, an account that's going to give you 3%, right? You're going to take 72 and you're going to divide it by 3. 3 into 72 is 24. So that means whatever account you have with an interest rate of 3%, that means every 24 years, whatever money's in your account is going to double. All right. I don't know about you, but 24 years is a long time to wait for your money to grow, right? Let's say you found a vehicle that gives you 6%. Now, 72 divided by 6 is 12. So now your money's going to double every 12 years. That's a little bit better, but still a long time, especially if you're getting closer and closer to retirement. So you want to find a vehicle that's going to get you the most interest rate possible, right? And for example, we'll use 12. Let's say you found a vehicle that's going to give you 12%. Now 72 divided by 12 is 6. So now every 6 years, your money is growing. Now that's something that you can get with, right? Where can I find 12%? Keisha Natalie Cole? You can find it in the global market. I know things are crazy right now. Everything looks a mess, right? But here's the thing. When the market is low, that's a good thing, right? The market goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It's a cycle. It's been that way forever, right? And that's how it's going to be. When the market is low, that's the best time to buy because everything is on sale, right? And so it's kind of like when you go to the store and you buy Halloween stuff before Halloween everything is high, right? They may say they give you a sale, but it's still a little bit expensive. And then as soon as Halloween hits, all of the prices are slashed, right? And then you go and buy up all the Halloween stuff in preparation for next year. That's exactly how the market works. When you go and you put money in, let's say every month, you're systematically putting in money towards that, right? To buy what you need. Um, you buy all the shares while they're on sale, so that next year when it goes back up, what happens? That's more shares in your account for you to make money on, right? Never sell low. Never sell low. Always buy more. If you've got more money to put it in, okay? And stay the course. Stay the course. Trust the process. I know sometimes it's like scary because the news and all that stuff try to make it seem like you're gonna die if you don't, right? But that's not the case. If you have a financial professional in your life, talk to them. Let them know your concerns. Ask them, hey, listen, what's going on? Am I okay? What should I do? Because if you leave, you're going to lose, right? Let's take, for example, when the market crashed in 2008, everybody panicked. A lot of people took their money out. And then the very next year, it literally came right back. So everybody that kept putting money in made out. Everybody that took money out lost big, right? So you just want to make sure, trust the process, trust your advisor, you'll be okay. All right. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Which would you choose? Okay. Would you choose to save more and accept a lower percentage rate? Or would you choose to save less at a higher percentage rate? Right? Which one would you choose? Because the importance for the rate of return is a one-time investment of $1,000, right? Let's say at birth, right? Let's say you have a baby and you put $1,000 away when the baby was born. And we'll go back through that 3%, 6%, 9% rate of return, right? At 3%, that baby, after by the time they get to retirement age, let's say 67, right? That one-time investment at 3% is only going to grow to about $7,000. Can you imagine? From birth to 67, $7,000, right? That's crazy. Okay. Remember, we told you about that doubling period. If it was 6%, that's about $55,000. Okay. At 9%, it's almost 500,000, right? So you see the difference. So you want to make sure wherever you put your money, you're talking to a financial professional so that they can put you in the right account, because you want to make sure you're getting the best. Okay. Now, we talk about mutual funds all the time. What is a mutual fund? Okay. The way that mutual funds work is professional money managers invest the pool, what they call a pool, they invest that for you. Okay. So your investments are under constant supervision when you're in a mutual fund. There's always somebody making sure that your money is good, right? If they have to rebalance or if they have to move things around, there's always somebody there doing that for you. Because a lot of times people feel like, oh, I can go and invest stuff on my own. I could use apps, but those really won't help you in terms of making sure that somebody is keeping an eye on your money. Okay. So you have a bunch of individual investors. Remember, I mentioned a pool. A bunch of individual investors put money into a pot, right? They call that pooled assets, and they invest that into the global economy, right? And so when you have mutual funds, you have a diversified portfolio, because mutual funds usually have over 100 plus different companies within that portfolio, right? Within that fund. So if let's say, for example, you have 150 in that mutual fund, right? 100 are doing great, 50 aren't doing great, you're still making out, right? Because you still have 100 different companies that are doing well. And so you want to make sure that anything that you put your money is diversified well. Okay. Now, what I want to talk to you a little bit about is the power of tax deferred savings. Okay. Let's say, for example, you're saving money, okay? And tax deferred means you're not going to pay while you're saving, you're going to pay at the end, right? So let's say you're saving for 10 years, all right? And with no taxes deferred, meaning you've paid taxes on it, you're going to have about $58,000, let's say, right? If you have taxes on the return deferred, like at the end where you make money, right? Let's say, for example, let's say if you made $100,000 in capital, what they call capital gains, right? That's how much you made in the interest. You're gonna have to pay taxes on that $100,000, right? That's if it's deferred. Now, if you have an account like a Roth IRA where you're not paying any taxes, but it's growing tax free. And then on the balance side, what you do is you look at that account, you find other vehicles to switch that into so that you're not paying as much taxes as you would have if you just literally took the money out. Because as long as you're investing, there's some tax savings in there, right? So you want to make sure that whoever you're speaking to kind of helps you figure out which product is best for you. Now, an IRA is called an individual retirement account. Okay. They've got a traditional IRA and they have a Roth IRA. Okay. With the traditional IRA deductible, what that does is it saves you money by giving you and your spouse the potential to contribute $6,000 if you're under the age of 55 each. Okay, if you meet certain requirements, $6,000 each off the top of your gross income. All right. And that reduces your taxable income. Right. Now, what happens is you postpone payments of taxes on any earnings that are withdrawn at a date in the future, which is your retirement. And the reason for that is because you've already paid taxes on that money because it's coming from your income. Right. So you've already paid taxes with the traditional. And so at a later time, you don't, the taxes on any earnings are deferred until you start withdrawing. Now, the traditional IRA that's non-deductible, and let me know if I'm going too fast because sometimes I can. If you exceed certain income limits, your traditional IRA contributions may not be deducted from your current tax bill. Okay, if you make over a certain amount. However, your non deductible contributions will grow on a tax deferred basis. So even though you weren't able to deduct the contributions, more of your money is allowed to grow and compound than if taxes were taken out of your account each year. Okay, so you wouldn't be able to claim it on your taxes because you're over a certain tax bracket, but your money still gets to grow, right? Um, Tax deferred. Now, with a Roth IRA, the contributions are made with after tax money. Okay, so that means the money has already been taxed, so they're not going to tax it again. However, when you withdraw the money from a Roth IRA, none of it will be taxed. Why? Because you've moved it into another vehicle like an annuity, which we'll talk about, right? Where your money is still being invested, right? You're still withdrawing income, but some of your principal is protected, right? So that means you don't have to worry about losing your money to the market because they have different things in place so that your money is protected while you're in retirement and while you're drawing from it. Okay. That's why when people are close to retirement, I usually tell folks um, they should consult with a retirement expert, usually about 5 years or so when you're within 5 years of retirement, right? And the reason for that is because you want to go through a series of questions to understand where you're going to be in retirement, right? So I ask questions like, um, where's your income going to come from? Okay. Is it coming from a 401k or a 403b or some kind of work retirement account? Is it coming from, do you have your own personal IRAs in addition to some kind of work retirement account? Right. Are you planning on waiting, on using your social security? Is that something that you're going to be depending on? Are you going to have income in retirement? Like, are you going to have real estate? Right? Is there going to be rental properties? Are you going to have a hobby that's going to pay you, right? Will there be other income coming in? Are there any kind of medical expenses that you're going to need? A lot of people don't think about this, but there is an insurance called long-term care insurance. And what that does is it makes sure that if you had to go live in a retirement home or if you needed services like an in-home nurse or anything like that, that money does not have to come from your retirement accounts. or your income or your family, because the insurance that you purchased pays for that. Okay. And so I always tell clients, if you don't have long-term care insurance, look into it. All right. Soon rather than later, because later it's going to cost a whole lot more. So you want to plan for that. Do you have long-term care insurance? If you don't, let's put aside some money so that in case that happens, you don't have to worry about your retirement portion, right? Is there any family members? Are there any kids or anybody that's going to be in your pocket during retirement? Is there somebody you have to give money to all the time, right? During retirement. These are things that you have to think about. How often do you want to travel during the year, right? What kind of trips are you looking to take? Is there any big expenses that you could foresee in retirement that you're going to need? Because what happens is you have to make sure that not only do you have your money in a retirement vehicle, but you also have to make sure that you have what's called liquidity, right? Cash on hand in case anything happens. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to be pulling money from your retirement accounts, God forbid something big happens. So these are some of the questions. Like there's a whole lot of questions. When you talk with me, at the end of it, it feels like we're dating or we're married because I'm asking all of you, everything that's going on so that I can understand exactly what you want so I can make sure that you get to what you need. So those are just some of the things that you should be thinking about when you're thinking about retirement. Okay. And if you're already in retirement and those questions weren't considered, give me a call, send me an email, DM me, inbox me, and we could talk. Because I can definitely look at what you've got going on and see if there's any way that I can help. I mean, if I can help, I'll definitely help, right? But if I feel like you're doing a great job already, I'll be like, nope, you're doing fine. You can do X, this, and this, maybe to button it up. But other than that, stay where you're at, right? Because my goal is to make sure that you get to where you need to go, whether you're my client or not. Okay. All right. So those are the different types of IRAs. Okay. Roth IRA, the contribution limit. Sorry about that, guys. The contribution limit is $6,000 for a Roth IRA. So every year you can contribute $6,000. Ash, can you answer her and tell her that I am in the middle of a live? Because she's just gonna keep calling me. Sorry about that, y'all. 3494. So the traditional IRA, like I said, up to $6,000. Age 50 and above, up to $7,000. Okay. With the Roth IRA, same thing. You can contribute $6,000 up to age 50. Up to age 50, 50 and above, it's $7,000. Okay. Remember, the traditional IRA, if you fit within the income amount, it's you can deduct it. Okay. If you are over the income amount, it's non-deductible. All right. With the traditional IRA, the retirement withdrawals after age 59 and a half are taxable. With the Roth IRA, it's tax-free if the Roth IRA is held for at least 5 years. So, okay. So that means 59 and a half comes, 5 more years, you still have it held, then it is tax-free. Okay. And then for the traditional IRA, the distributions are required by age 72. That means by the time you get to 72 years old, you got to start taking that money, right? If it's a Roth IRA, there is no age requirement. Okay. So those are the two different types of retirement vehicles: Roth IRA, traditional IRA. Okay. Now I want to chat with you a little bit about the 3 Ds of investing. Okay. A good way to keep your focus on your goals is to remember the 3 Ds of investing. Okay. First is dollar cost averaging. You're going to hear me talk about that a lot in my lives, right? Dollar cost averaging. That's when you're investing a certain fixed amount each month, regardless of what's happening in the stock market. Doesn't matter. Every month you're putting away $100, whether the market is up or down, up or down, up or down. You're consistently putting away $100. Okay, it doesn't matter. Dollar cost averaging does not assure a profit or protect against loss, but I want you to consider your ability to continue investing during a declining market. Like I mentioned, get that stuff while it's low, right? Stack up. That's like those holiday decorations. When it goes on sale, people snatch it up so that next year they don't have to pay so much money for it, right? Because it's going to go right back up. So that's exactly what dollar cost averaging is. Discipline. Okay. So we said dollar cost averaging, discipline. All right. Staying focused and investing through all market activity. And then diversification, building your portfolio by balancing a variety of investments. Diversification, like I said, it does not assure you of profit or loss, but it definitely makes your profile a lot better when you are diversified. Okay. Now, with dollar cost averaging, here's how it works. Let's say, for example, you have investor A. Investor A began purchasing shares as the market went up. Okay. Right after that, investor B started purchasing shares when the market fell and then recovered to where it was at the beginning of his investment period, right? Who do you think earned more shares, investor A or investor B? When you think about it, if investor B bought shares when the market was up, that means investor B paid more money for his shares, right? Investor B came in and got them on sale, right? So, say for example, um, it was $100 a share, and investor A paid $100. Every month, investor A puts in $100, investor A gets one share. Then the market went down and the shares are $50. And investor B came in and started making purchases. Now, investor B is putting in $100 and is buying two shares every month, right? So at the end of the year, investor B is going to have 24 shares while investor A has 12. And if the market goes back up, who's going to make out better? Investor B, right? Absolutely. So you want to make sure you just keep going no matter what, right? And that's really what we do. We teach you how to bypass the middleman, how you become the owner and not the loaner. Watch out for these companies that, tell you that you can make a certain amount of money. Watch out for guarantees because we cannot guarantee anything. I can't say to you, I'm going to guarantee you're going to be a millionaire if you follow me because I don't know what the market is going to do, right? I can show you what a company has done over the last 20, 30, 40 years. But I can't say in 20, 30, 40 years, you're going to have exactly this amount of money. I would never do that. Right. And so you want to make sure that you understand how that works. All right. Now, when it comes to annuities, all right, annuities are basically accounts that um, give you a certain rate of return, right? So that as your money is growing, you can, you could still make withdrawals from it. It really depends. There are different types of annuities. Um, and so it depends on what your goal is for that annuity because they're like investments issued by insurance companies that can be used to like help build a guaranteed income stream or a retirement nest if you have time to save before you need to withdraw. So it's kind of like being able to create your own pension fund or IRA, right? And like I said, there's so many different annuities that it just depends on what you've got going on. Right. So if somebody's looking for something stable, looking for that lifetime income to make sure that they're going to have income throughout their whole retirement, saving money for retirement in a tax deferred vehicle or wanting to, protect some of their assets but have some potential growth, that's what annuities are. Okay. And like I said, they're used to secure predictable income. They're used to build wealth, depending on which one, right? They're similar to like a pension, a fund investment, sort of, kind of, right? And the benefits really is you get a fixed interest rate and you have lifetime income. Plus, there's like a tax deferred growth potential. So, with the annuities, you want to make sure one, you know exactly what you need it for. Okay, so Shantae, you said for a retirement nest. So that means you're planning on retiring. You're not ready for it yet, but you've got some time and you're looking to protect what you invest. Is that correct? While still making some kind of growth in that account. Um, and what I would recommend is I would definitely recommend a consultation so that all the right questions can be asked so that I know exactly what it is that you're looking for. Like how many years before you retire, how much money do you have saved already? How much money do you need for retirement? That kind of stuff is important to know so that I know where to put you, right? Which account should I put you in? Um, And so those are some of the things that you've got to think about. So you want to make sure I know at first glance achieving financial success seems like a lot, right? And you're like, "Oh my god, am I even going to be able to do that?" But you can, right? You can definitely do it. You just have to start, and you just have to make sure that you're talking to the right people and that you understand everything that you need to understand in terms of how it works. Okay. So you want to, it said basically the money that you need throughout retirement. Okay. And how long will it be before you retire? Do you have 10 years to save? Do you have 5 years? Do you have 15 years? How long do you have before you get to retirement? Okay, that's important too, because there are some, there are a lot of different companies that I partner with that have annuities where if you put money in and you leave it there, oh, you've got time. Oh, great. You've got 21 years. Okay. Here's the thing with annuities, you have to be a certain age. So if you are, I think, under 45, prayerfully, I know that's right. If you're under 45, you cannot do annuities. But if you are 45 and older, you can do annuities. I wouldn't recommend it so young. I would definitely recommend it as you get a little bit older. Um, but it is something that you can definitely consider. Okay, cool. So, Shantae, do me a favor, drop your email in the chat. And what I'll do is I'll text you my link and we can chat. Then I can find out a little bit more information. I don't want, all your information out here on the live, but we'll chat a little bit more so I can ask you some deeper questions and then I can give you a couple of options that you can, think about. Okay. So yeah, absolutely great question. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, annuities are fabulous, especially if you've got a good amount of money to put away. And you have time before you actually need to withdraw income. See, that's the thing. If you have time before you need to withdraw income, that's where you're able to make some additional funds in your retirement account to make sure that, if you don't want it to be so aggressive, then you can put it in an annuity that's going to get you a certain percentage so that that money grows. And then when you are ready to pull from that, then you put it in the proper account so that you make sure it still grows, right? Because the whole goal of it is to make sure that you've got money in your retirement account forever, right? That you never run out. I want to make sure that you never run out. Okay. And so it's so important that chat about it. So some of the things, we'll go back from the top. These are some of the things that we talked about. Now, I didn't order nothing from Amazon, y'all, but they always ring my doorbell and always when I am on live. Always. It never fails. It's just going to be a part of my live now. Hi, Mr. Amazon lady. I'm Mrs. Amazon lady. Oops. Where's that a guy? I don't know. But every time, last Sunday, they came around this time and it wasn't mine. Never fails. Anyway, that's just going to be a part of my life. If the Amazon person does not deliver during my lives, that means the live was not good. Okay. But just to recap, some of the things that you have to consider in retirement. How much money do you need to retire? What does that look like? Every month, I need $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, because then that helps us to figure out how much money are you going to need in retirement. And when you put your money in the right retirement vehicles, you're always going to withdraw more than you put in. Okay. You'll never, ever put in more than we withdraw. Like you should never run out of money when you're in retirement. Okay. So you want to make sure you partner with the right professional to help you get that squared away. If you haven't started saving for retirement, save, start, put something away, $50, $100, open a mutual fund, start a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, whatever works for your circumstance. If you are investing at work, here's the thing. Only invest what they give you back. So if the company is matching 3%, you invest 3%. Okay. Because what happens is you're better off putting the extra money that you want to put away into a personal retirement account so that you have a couple of things going for you. You know how they say the key to wealth building is multiple streams of income when you're trying to get that passive income? Yeah, that's the same thing with investing. You want to make sure you have a couple of investment accounts. I'm not telling you to go out there and have 25, 35 investment accounts. Please don't do that. You do not want your money all across the world trying to make money, okay? Because what's going to happen is it's not going to work, because compounding interest compounds on what? The whole amount. So if you've got $100,000 in an investment account and every month you're putting away $100, $500, $1,000, it's going to compound on everything that's in the account. So you want to make sure that you've got the right vehicles in place, not 500 million thousand vehicles, but the right vehicles in place so that you can capitalize on that savings. Okay. So as you're going towards retirement, you want to make sure you have a couple of things in place, especially if you have a family. You want to make sure you've got life insurance. Okay. That's a big necessity. All right. Last week I talked about building your financial house, and let me show you what that looks like so you can kind of see. I talked about building a financial house and how that works, right? So let's add that. We'll go through that real quick, and then if there's any other questions, we'll get to those questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. So when you're building your financial house, you want to make sure that you are starting at the foundation, right? The foundation is your income protection, life insurance, okay? The best type of life insurance is term life. You don't have to take my word for it. Ask Susie Orman. She'll tell you term life insurance is the best way to go, right? The way to look at term life insurance, just look at it as you're renting a pile of money, right? You're renting a big pile of money just in case anything happens to you and you've got things that you want to provide for your family. You're able to do that, okay? But while you're renting that big pile of money, you're also investing. That's so important, right? Because you don't need life insurance for your whole life. Let me ask you this. If you had an investment vehicle that had 500,000, 600,000, a million, $2 million in it, are you going to need $400,000 worth of life insurance, $500,000 worth of life insurance? You're not going to need it. Life insurance no longer becomes a need at that point. It now becomes a want. I'm not saying you don't have to have it. There are some people that just feel comfortable having it, but now it's a want, right? And you can definitely renew if you want to, but you don't have to do it at, for 400,000. You could do it for a little bit less, right? It's up to you, right? That's how it works. That's the theory of decreasing responsibility. As you get older, your children, they get grown, they go off, they do their own thing. You pay off all your debt, your mortgage is paid off. All you need is retirement income. So you don't need to rent a big pile of money anymore, right? So you want to make sure you have the right kind of life insurance and make sure it's the right kind, because not all term is equal. A lot of these companies like to sneak different types of things in your term policy. They'll put in there accidental life and death. They'll put in there a little bit of whole life. They'll put right. They'll mix and match to keep the price low. But at the end of the day, if you have $100,000 policy and $80,000 of it is accidental life and death, what that means is if you don't die in a certain manner, right? Like in an accident where maybe your leg gets taken off and you're laid out this way, and like it has to be absolutely zero natural causes. So you can't have a heart attack, crash the car, and die, because that's not considered accidental. Okay. If that happens, your family is only going to get $20,000, because only $20,000 of that policy is an actual policy. Okay. You don't want your family finding that out after the fact. So you want to make sure you know what kind of policy that you have so that you make sure you have the right things put in place. And then the second thing is budgeting, emergency fund, and that will, making sure that you understand how to budget your money, making sure you have that emergency fund built up, right? 3 to 6 months of expenses. Some people do a little bit more, 6 to 9 months. Some people want a whole year of expenses, right? But that you have money in your account in case of an emergency. You've got cash on hand. I'm going to say this to y'all, and I want you to write it down, put it on sticky notes, plaster it all over the place, put it in your wallet if you have to. A credit card is not an emergency fund. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. A credit card is not an emergency fund. Okay. It's too expensive to pay back. All right. So you do not want to rely on credit cards for emergencies. Okay. And then make sure you have a will in place. It is so important that you have a will in place. A lot of people think you have to have so much in order to put a will in place. No, you don't. Here are a couple things with the will. You have to, if you don't tell the state what you want done The state is going to tell your family what they're going to do. So if you've got specific things that you want done, make sure it's in a will. If you need access to a company that can provide you with a will, let me know. I've got connections. It's so funny. Last Saturday, every Saturday we do trainings, right, with the team, the internal team, and we were talking about the different products that we offer and things like that. And I was like, man, I'm that person. I want to be that person that people know they can come see if they need XYZ, right? Because I got a guy. I always got a guy. You need life insurance? I got a guy. That's me. Okay. If you need home security, I got a guy. Call me. I'll connect you with that. If you need to save money on home and auto, I got a guy. Okay. Mortgages, I got a guy. What else? A legal protection plan, I got a guy. Like, I got a guy for everything. So whatever you need, call me, because I got a guy, right? But when you do the wills, you want to make sure you put things in there like who's going to be your power of attorney. um if God forbid anything were to happen to you, do you want to be resuscitated? Do you not want to be resuscitated? Right? Those are important things, man. And let me tell you, from experience, you don't want your family to have to make those types of decisions. Okay, because your family is not going to want to let you go. So if you decide that you want to be a DNR, then you have to put it in writing. Because let me tell you, if it's up to me and it's not in writing, I'm going to fight for your life. Right. And that's how it is for most people. So you want to make sure that you have everything put in the will. If you have children that are young, and God forbid anything were to happen to you and your partner, who's going to take care of that child? You might think that if the right family member is going to step up and do the right thing, but what if another family member comes along and says they want that child, right? And you don't even like that family member. I always think about that movie with Jim Carrey. Uh what was it called? Something with unfortunate events, a series of unfortunate events where the three children were orphaned because their parents were murdered. And this uncle from out of nowhere wants to take them because there's money attached to the children, right? And the uncle could care less about them kids. Okay. All he cared about was that money. That's what I'm talking about. So you want to make sure you put all that stuff in a will. Okay. Super important. Get that will together. Then we talk about debt elimination, how to get out of debt quickly. We have this thing we call debt stacking. It's kind of like a snowballing effect. When you start, you build a snowball, you roll it down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it stops. Same thing with debt stacking. If you've got a couple of different debts, right, what you do is as soon as one debt is paid off, instead of putting that money back in your pocket or spending it, a lot of people will do that, right? If you free up some money, you're like, oh, I got an extra $50, I got an extra $100, I'm about to go buy something. Don't do that. Take that $100 and dump it into the next debt. So let's say, for example, $221 was for one credit card, and you're paying that every month, and you pay that off. Now you freed up 221. Your other credit card that you were paying off, maybe it was $300. Now instead of $300 paying towards that credit card, you're adding $521 to it. So now, I'm sorry, you're adding $221 to it. So now you're paying $521 towards that debt, right? Boom, that card gets paid off quickly. Take that money, you're going to dump it into your car note or your mortgage or whatever it is you have. Just keep dumping. Every time you free up money, you just keep dumping it into the next debt until that debt's paid off. Because what will happen is you will have paid off your debt a lot quicker, and you will have saved on interest. Okay. Most important. Oh, I love it. I love it. We got a witness in the building, right? That's how you pay off your debt quickly. But here's the thing, fam. Here's the thing, family. You cannot keep making debt if you're trying to get out of debt. Okay. So you got to set the plan, you got to write it down, and you got to stick to the plan so that you can get out of debt. Because here's the thing. Let's say you're paying $1,000 towards debt every month, and finally you're out of debt. Instead of putting that $1,000 back in your pocket, you're already used to paying it out every month. Take it and dump it into your investment vehicle, because then that's more money for for that account to compound against, and that's more growth. Okay. So we get out of debt, debt is done. Now we're putting money into our retirement vehicle, right? The next floor is retirement. After retirement, college savings. Why? Because here's the thing, kids have a lot of different ways to go to school. They've got grants, they've got loans, they've got scholarships, right? Some places are even letting kids go to school for free. We don't have that. Okay. I tried. There is no retirement loan. I called the bank. I was like, hey, I'm trying to retire. Do y'all have a loan I could take out? Right. They laughed at me. I didn't think that was very nice, but it is what it is, right? She was like, "Are you serious? Stop pranking my phone, lady. I got work to do." And I'm like, "No, I'm dead serious. I'm trying to get a loan. I'm tired of working. I just want to retire." Right? She was like, "Nah, sorry, I can't do that." We have to be the ones to fund our own retirement account, right? It's kind of like when you're on an airplane and it tells you, the stewardess says when your mask drops, you put the mask on first and then you help somebody else. That's how it works, right? Now, unless you have money to put towards a college savings plan in addition to your retirement, do that by all means, right? Absolutely. But then we do other goals and dreams, right? That's where the fun stuff is. And a lot of times people like to do the fun stuff before they do everything else. Now, what house can be built from the roof? None. Okay. A lot of people are out here living their best life, traveling, buying fancy cars, living in really big houses. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have all of that. What I am saying is if your financial house is not in order, then you should rethink your priorities. Because here's the thing, what good is it for you to start an investment account, putting away $500 a month, $1,000 a month, if you don't have any life insurance? Because what happens if you started your retirement account, okay, and you got $2,000 in it, and then you'd pass away. You don't have any life insurance. That $2,000 is definitely not covering your burial. Okay. Not even a cremation. I'm just saying. So you want to make sure you have the proper things in place. Follow the system. The system always works. It's been working for years, 50 plus years, okay, for me that I've known, okay? So you want to make sure you are doing things in the proper manner so that you can build a strong financial house so you can make sure you're where you want to be. All right? Shantae, what'd you say? I got sidetracked until I got the revelation. Do not add to your body. I know that's listen, it happens, right? You are doing good. You're like, yeah, I'm on pace. And next thing you know, you're like, well, I want to take a trip and I do have this credit card paid off. So I promise I'm gonna pay it back before it's due. And the next thing you know, but just life happens, right? Yeah, you are not by yourself, Shantae, but I'm so glad that you got out of that. Congratulations on that. But that's it, guys. That's all I want to do for y'all tonight. Join me again next Sunday, same time, 6 o'clock. We'll talk some more about retirement. We'll talk a little bit. We'll go into a couple of the different um, vehicles for retirement. And I just want to get everybody educated, man. Thank you for joining me today. As always, it's so much fun sharing with you all. If you have any questions, if there's anything that you want to know, just drop your email in the chat. I'll be sure to send you an email. We'll talk. I'll answer all of your questions and hopefully I'll be able to help. This is Keisha Natalie Cole signing out. This year, we're going to be fearless, y'all. Fearless by design, man. We're going to design the life that we want fearlessly. Okay. You're welcome, Shantae. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm so glad that I'm able to help you. Got to stay focused, man. That's the thing. Focus, consistency gets you to where you need to be. Hey, I'm a rapper and I didn't even know it. I should write that down. Focused consistency gets you to where you need to be. That's my mantra. Thanks so much, y'all. Have a good night.